This program contains adult material and language. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back. We got you all we got Jen and her new. Oh, great! I just unplugged my headphones.
I can't hear you anyway.
Yeah. I can't hear you anyway. Nice.
I can hear you. I'm just not paying attention.
Yeah. Well, what else is new?
What?
What else is new?
What?
Exactly. But anyway, Jen and her new tongue got really nervous tonight.
I did.
You did, didn't you? And she's not happy with her performance. I thought she did well. G-Man?
I think she performed very well.
Wow.
But anyway, I want to thank Jen for doing the Rockopedia tonight. That was good.
Excellent.
That was really
My
good.
pleasure.
But yeah, a long career, man. It was 13 years was a lot for an original band back in that time because they didn't last that long.
A long time now.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was an interesting ride with that band because in the beginning, I was playing drums actually in an original band at the time when I was approached by Don to write some music for his lyrics that he had written.
That's King's Ransom, right?
No, I was at King's Ransom. I was actually the lead guitarist and singer.
Wow.
That was my project in the early 90s. Yeah, the band I was in 99 was Cryonic.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, I was the drummer in Cryonic, and I was actually just leaving. No, I was actually doing that too. I was playing drums in Cryonic, which was an original band, and I recorded a studio demo with them. And I was also playing in a Southern rock tribute band on the drums also.
Nice.
So I was a drummer at the time. From 97 to late 99, I was a drummer. I just got back into music after leaving music in 95 because of the grunge error. There was nowhere left for my band to play. There's all 90s grunge sounding bands that I was playing with, and I said there was nowhere left for us to go. So I left music for 2 years, and then 97 I returned as a drummer, and I played drums for the next 2 years. And Don approached me and said, "I heard you are a good guitar player and songwriter, and I'd like to write songs with you. And I have some lyrics to some songs, and would like to know if you would write some music to them." That made me pick up my guitar again, gave me a reason to pick up my guitar again. And I wrote, the very first song he gave me was Devil's Mountain. I wrote the music for him in one night. I sat there for like 2 hours, wrote the music. And
So I'm going to interrupt you for a
sure,
second.
go ahead.
Because you're talking about this like, I picked up a piece of paper and just wrote some stuff down. So do you actually realize how talented that is?
What?
To be able to look at something, read something, write music to it, or to have some music and go, here's some words that go with this.
Well, I did both, actually.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying to you. Do
Yeah.
you really understand how talented that is? Because you're talking like it's just, I picked up a tic-tac-toe board and played.
Well, no, songwriting is a talent, and songwriting, you can tell the good songwriters from the non-good songwriters.
Yes, you can.
Well, the thing is, I've never done either one, but I can. The way I'm thinking probably is, if you're doing it, the same person is writing both, they can get the melody going in their head with the lyrics.
But that's the thing, though. He gets somebody who gives him some music, and he writes a song to it.
Okay. Well,
Or he gets lyrics, and he writes music to go with the words that are on the paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, why it took 2 hours is because I'm reading the lyrics, and I'm trying to see which way, when you're writing, especially when you're writing music to lyrics, that's even harder. Writing lyrics to music that's already been is a little easier than writing actual music to the lyrics. It is, actually.
Sure. I write poetry, okay? I write poetry and short stories, and I can't even fathom that.
Yeah. So
I write my name.
Awesome.
That's about the extent of it.
So what he wanted me to do is like, can you do it in a can you do it with a because Don was younger than me, and Don was more into the '90s stuff. So I was like, well, I'm not going to write anything that's grunge or anything like. He said, no, I don't expect you to, but can you give it like maybe the old school sound with a new twist? That's what he wanted to do, like maybe give it. So even though Devil's Mountain does sound really 80ish and dated, it does have. If you listen to some of the parts of the song, it is little bit separated from the 80s kind of sound. It's got a little bit of both in it. Yeah. And so that's what I tried to do. That's how I approached it. He gave me a little idea what he was looking for. So that's why me and him had a pretty decent chemistry in the beginning. We sat down and wrote, basically wrote, that's how we wrote all the songs actually. We never got together, me and him, never, except for one song. We got together and wrote Shelter was the only song that we actually in the same room when it was written. He had lyrics and I started coming up with different ideas for the song, and that was one of the most, I don't know if I would say unique or one of the most different songs I ever wrote, because that, if you listen to Shelter, it's,
which I don't have a copy of.
It's not,
whatever, right?
It's not, I thought you did.
No.
It's on the Still Standing album. I didn't give you that.
I don't have that song.
Okay. Oh, I have to get that to you. But if you notice, there's no guitar solo in that song.
No, I don't notice because I don't know the song.
But yeah, there's no.
After, doesn't he?
It was definitely separated from the 80s kind of sound that I'm used to writing to. That was like, out of all the songs I've ever written, was the most different kind of song I ever wrote.
So again, not to blow up your ego, okay?
I don't have one.
Okay,
but
not to say this.
I don't think I'm that talented. I thought I was born with a gift to do this, but I thought I could be a lot more talented because I wouldn't be.
Talent doesn't mean you get money. Talent means you get people to hear your music.
Yeah.
And that people enjoy your music.
Yeah. That's, I guess.
And your record's all the way over to England. So, by the way, that is pretty worldwide.
Yeah, I know. I know. Our
England and Russia.
Album actually got out
Hangman's Cry.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually got some feedback from people in Sweden, too, that actually got the album, which is really
because
cool.
they really like 80s music.
Yeah. They love 80s. They're diehards over there, man. They stay with that stuff.
If we can get a population in Japan, we'd really be set.
Maybe over the Philippines, maybe.
But what happened basically, they tried to make the career of the band, in the short story. What happened was with Don is, even though we had a decent writing chemistry together, which is really good, you can tell it was a good chemistry because he's writing the lyrics at home and I'm, at my home writing the music to it. We had, like I said, Shelter's the only one we actually sat in a room and wrote together. I mean, we wrote together, but in the same room. That was the only song. All the other songs we wrote together, which were like about 5 or 6 songs we wrote together. The beginning of Hangman's Cry was pretty good chemistry. We did pretty well. It's just Don had a lot of issues, and Don had what you call social anxiety, which is not a good thing to live with. We both battled anxiety around the same time, but mine was kind of different than his. I could hit the stage and play. And he had a problem being around people, and
that's an issue in a band.
Yeah, so it kind of ran into him missing rehearsals, him actually missing studio time that we paid for to record songs. Ooh. Yeah, and him missing a show.
That could be kind of important.
Him missing a 3-set show that was down at the diner in South Philly, the Dynasty.
Missed the diner.
And I had to sit there and, sing the songs for the whole freaking night that I wasn't used to doing. I haven't sang since the last time I sang was in 95. So we're talking like 2003. Wow. I mean, I sang one song when Cryonic from behind the drums, but that was about it. I did a lot of back vocals, but I didn't sing, lead vocal for a long time. But anyway, that's what happened. That's the show that actually got the fan base that said, dude, why are you not the singer? So I got a lot of that feedback from the band. So when it was time, like we were tired of Don not showing up and not being there for us, and I felt bad for him. I understand what he was going through. I was battling anxiety myself, but it wasn't as bad as his was. Now, then it got to the point where this is an excuse for him not to be here with us, or is it really a problem? But either way, the band just couldn't continue on like that. So we had it was hard for us to make that decision, but we had to carry on without him. And that's when we were looking for singers, and people were like, what the hell are you looking for singers for? And the singer's already in the band. And that's when I took over the vocals. And when I took over the vocals, it brought more responsibility onto my shoulders. And then what happened was me and Brian started not seeing that. I never played a musician that did not want to play out that much. Because we play out too much. We should play a couple gigs a year. And I was like, dude, we're paying a lot of time for rehearsal and a lot of money putting into and to play out like 3 times a year. What are you, insane? No, it's not going to happen. So me and him kept bumping heads on that. And then, me and Harry decided to move on without him. And that's when Joey came into the band. And we had a great chemistry. Joey's a phenomenal drummer. We went into the studio with the 3 of us to record Still Standing and brought in my friend Brian, who's I later played with in Cryonic, who I was just talking about. He came in and played some guitar work with us, and we put out that album, basically, the 3 of us by ourselves. And then later on, that's when Joe Porter came into the band, and we went down. He's a huge Ozzy, Black Sabbath kind of guy, and that's what our music kind of turned into. We went down that deep path of like Black Sabbath kind of stuff. It was really weird for the band. It was a weird transition. We're doing like deeper, darker songs with Sweet, Sweet Cheetah. It was kind of weird. Our sets were kind of getting like, and
kind of like my iPod. Actually.
So it kind of got weird. It was different. It was cool. It was like we went down a different experiment to do that. But I thought it kind of hurt us though, because people were losing a lot of fans. But fortunately, instead of us having to, lay down the axe on the guy, he basically laid the axe on himself and started, he met a stripper girl and started missing his rehearsals in his own.
It's always the downfall.
He started missing rehearsals in his own home. We practiced in his basement. The studio where we start recording an album together, this lineup start recording an album together, was in his basement. So we're in the basement while he's out with some stripper waiting for this guy to show up for rehearsal.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of weird. So it kind of got ugly, and so that only lasted for about 3 or 4 months. Then Mike Albright came in. He brought a different twist to the band, but it was more of what we were used to writing, like more catchy kind of songs, little heavier. But but Mike Albright was a great addition to the band. And but then as that time carried on, then we had John Barnes come in, and then he quit the band. Mike Albright was in the band. And then we brought in Darren Brown on the bass. And then in 2009, them guys decided to go in their own direction. And I moved on and brought back John and Joey back in the lineup. And I did that thing for a couple months. And then in 2010, I decided to bring in a manager to really get the ball rolling, get this band going. That's when we brought in Mike Partica. And he came in and bang, we had shows all over the Pennsylvania area, all over Jersey area, all over Delaware. We almost had a gig in Boston, but I was like, dude, I don't think we're going and then we're opening up for Skid Row. We opened up for Wasp, which we
did not open up for.
No,
Wasp.
We didn't open up for Wasp because Wasp, we were supposed to open up. We became the headliners when Wasp got thrown out of the place. But anyway, and we opened up for Armored Saint. And we had all these great gigs that we were playing. And then Chris contacted us, Chris Carroll from Toyo Records, contacted us and said, I want to sign your band. And that's when in 2011, he signed us to Toyo Records. We went immediately into the studio, and for like 8 months, we worked on the show album. And of course, that was released in 2012, and we were successful. We had big crowds at our shows, and we were selling a lot of albums, and then it just all fell apart in 2013. I don't want to point fingers, but it seemed to happen. One member seemed to create a whole whole bunch of chaos, which disbanded the band. And then, as you know, from 2013 on, I've been putting various lineups together just to keep the band going.
Just random little people.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had the guys from Old School do a Hangman's Cry set.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then, fortunately, in the last few years, I was able to get back in contact with Kevin. And Kevin's been a part of the shows the last few years. And Richie became the new drummer of the band, who's in Old School. And so yeah, and there, I am. I'm not going to hide it. I mean, it's rumor. It ain't rumor. I'm actually looking to. 2020 will be the 20th anniversary of when I established Hangman's Cry in 2000. So I'm looking to do some big things next year with Hangman's Cry.
Yay.
So hopefully that goes through, and I would love to have one big night of a big bash where I get some of the old members up and to do some of the songs I did with them, to do, to have like a, one of them kind of nights where you have all the members that were
Big
part of the
reunion
band.
thing,
It's
yeah.
going to be hard to do because some of the people have moved on, and of course Mike's out in Florida. So I don't
Well,
know.
he's just gonna have to bring his butt.
Yeah, I would love to do it with Mike. Mike was a big part
Just
of the
his
band.
butt?
Yes.
So I'm hoping that
Bass player.
2020 will bring some good things for Hangman's Cry, because it's the 20th anniversary, and I would like to do some special things next year for the band.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I've already been in contact with Billy, Billy Lawson, who's a big part of the band for 2 stints that he was in the band. All was forgiven in a year and a half, whatever, when him, Mike, and Darren decided to go in their own direction, and I, at the time, needed the drummer to carry on, and Mike, who was the manager, said, I like the drummer you had, in the Mike Albright section of the band, and so we brought Billy back, and Billy's already said he's on board for next year.
And Billy sings tush very good.
He does, and Billy's, Billy said he's definitely interested. He's on board. So I got one guy.
Yay.
And I know Kevin will be there.
It's like the Blues Brothers. We're getting the band back together.
We're getting the band back together. Yeah. So yeah, look, I'm going to do something. I can't. I mean, it's one of my favorite project that I put together, and all the things I've done through my career. So, and I'm talking original band here, guys. So I did King's Ransom. Was a good band to me back in the '90s. But Hangman's Cry is the longest original band that I had together, and it's probably the best songwriting I ever done. So I want to do something special for it next year. So Hangman's Cry fans, be ready. That's all I got to say. All right, we got to take another commercial. And guess what? It's 7 o'clock hour already.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, 7:15. So that means we got to get ready for our 70s at 7.
Right.
Right?
And we're supposed to
Your
get
70s at 7.
My 70s at 7. That's right. Since it's my birthday, right? My birthday yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get to pick. Well, I'm the music director anyway, but I
So,
get
yeah.
to pick my favorites from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
We're expecting a phone call around 8 o'clock, just so you know.
Okay, can we, let's see, 8 o'clock. You go, yeah, I guess that'll work. Because we're going late into the 70s anyway, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, 8 o'clock would be cool.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So it's for a charity thing.
But yes, it's right, a charity. And you know us.
Charity event. Yep.
And we're always a big on the charity thing.
Yep.
Right?
That is correct.
All right, so let's take a commercial break, get back, and do some 70s at 7. Shakeman Show on WNYXradio.com.